It was a night filled with silence and unanswered questions when Malcolm Ashley received the call that shattered his world. The red Jeep, Lauren's car, had been found abandoned in a parking lot near the city beach, its windows rolled down, belongings left untouched inside. But Lauren was gone. No trace of her anywhere along the dark shoreline. No hint of where she might have vanished. With a trembling torch in hand, Malcolm walked the damp sand, scanning the black waves as desperation clawed at his chest. His mind refused to accept the empty space where his daughter should have been. The frantic search was just beginning, but deep inside, a cold dread settled, a silent whisper that this night would change everything. Lauren Ashley had always been the light in her family's life. Born in Boston in April 1993, she was the cherished daughter of Mary and Malcolm Ashley, both educators who built their lives around her. From her earliest days, Lauren was infused with lessons of honesty, kindness, and integrity, values her parents held sacred and hoped she would carry forever. Even after their divorce in 2006, Mary and Malcolm's commitment to their daughter never wavered. They shared custody, but always acted as one united front for Lauren, a steady foundation amid life's uncertainties. At 18, Lauren's world was bursting with promise. Petite but powerful, standing just under 5 feet tall, she commanded attention not with height but with her vibrant spirit and unyielding energy. She lived her days with a ray fervor, balancing academics with music, sports, and community service. Her voice, strong and clear, was the centerpiece of her school's a cappella group and church choir. On the soccer field and tennis courts, she moved with determination and grace. At local theaters, she embodied characters with the same passion she showed in life. Her schedule was a whirlwind of rehearsals, practices, volunteer work, and organizing charitable events. She was a beacon of hope and warmth to all who knew her, friends, family, even strangers in need. Yet, beneath the brightness of her achievements, Lauren's life was not untouched by the complexity of human relationships. It was during her senior year that she met Nathaniel Fuja. Known as Nathan to friends and family, he was tall, athletic, and charismatic, the star football player whose name was whispered in admiration across the halls of Wayland High. To many, he was the embodiment of youthful success and charm, but his heart belonged to Lauren alone. Their history was long, marked by childhood familiarity and shared dreams, but it was only in their final high school years that romance blossomed. At first, their love was the kind young people dream of, filled with hope, tenderness, and the thrill of first affection. For 3 years, Lauren and Nathaniel's relationship was a tapestry of whispered secrets, stolen kisses, and future plans that seemed as endless as the horizon. But as time passed, the seamless fabric began to fray. Disagreements became arguments. Tenderness gave way to tension. Their relationship twisted into a pattern of breaking up and making up, passion overshadowed by jealousy, and love marred by anger. Nathaniel's intense possessiveness clashed with Lauren's burgeoning independence. Though he was adored by many, his jealousy was a constant shadow, fueled by a deep insecurity that Lauren's kindness extended too freely to others. He struggled to accept her expanding world, a world in which he was no longer the sole focus. Lauren, in turn, found herself trapped between the love she once cherished and the growing emotional toll the relationship demanded. Her senior year was a turning point, a time to dream bigger and step into her future, but Nathan was becoming a barrier to that vision. The final rupture came quietly, on a day that should have been a celebration, Lauren's 18th birthday. She chose to break free, to reclaim the path she saw before her, one that led away from Nathan and toward college, toward a life untethered by fear and doubt. For Lauren, the breakup was liberation. For Nathan, it was devastation. The star athlete, once full of energy and promise, retreated into darkness. The boy who once captivated crowds with his speed and strength now spent his days withdrawn and sullen, sinking under the weight of loss. Friends watched as Nathan's world shrank, his laughter silenced by a haze of alcohol and despair. He stopped football, stopped training, stopped answering calls and invitations. His mother, Beth, desperate to reach her son, sought help from therapists and even reached out to Lauren, hoping a friend's kindness could mend the broken pieces. But the rift had deepened beyond simple repair. Lauren, torn between compassion and self-preservation, held her distance. Her friends warned her against rekindling the past. The summer that followed was meant to be a time of freedom, of new beginnings and quiet reflection. Lauren embraced a job at a local mall clothing store, a temporary anchor before college. But fate had darker plans. On July 3, 2011, Lauren arrived for her shift, a bright smile on her face and plans to meet friends afterward. Security cameras caught her entering the mall and riding the escalator up. But hours later, after her shift ended, she vanished. Her friends waited, puzzled and then worried, as Lauren failed to appear at their meeting. She was never the one to break plans without notice. Her father's intuition screamed that something was terribly wrong. When the police were alerted, the search began immediately. Lauren's red Jeep was found at the beach parking lot, windows rolled down, belongings untouched inside, a haunting scene of abandonment. No sign of struggle, no clues to her whereabouts. Yet, her absence screamed a silent alarm. As the investigation deepened, the spotlight turned inevitably toward Nathaniel. The recent breakup, his withdrawal, and his increasing instability all pointed to a man unmoored by grief and anger. But those closest to Lauren defended Nathan. He was moody, yes, but capable of murder? Impossible, they insisted. The police were cautious but persistent. Nathan's initial statements to the police were calm, almost rehearsed. He claimed to have seen Lauren briefly that day, just a few minutes at his house, before she left. His alibi was weak, but no witnesses contradicted him. Meanwhile, the search stretched into the night, growing more desperate with every passing hour. Then, just before dawn, the unthinkable happened. A cyclist on a quiet road near a marshy wetland spotted something floating in the water, a young woman's body. It was Lauren, found just miles from town, in a place no one imagined she would end up. The autopsy revealed a brutal truth. Lauren had not drowned. Her death was violent, deliberate. A deep wound sliced across her neck, an elastic cord tangled in her hair, a grim signature of the attack. She had fought fiercely, the bruises and defensive wounds telling a story of terror and resistance. This was no accident, no tragic misstep. It was murder. The community reeled. Friends refused to believe that Nathan could be responsible, still clinging to memories of a boy who once loved their Lauren. But the evidence told a darker story. A warrant to search Nathan's home uncovered more horrors. Blood stained the floors, door handles, sinks, a desperate attempt at erasure. Mud-caked shoes and boots bore the unmistakable imprint of the marsh where Lauren's body was found. Forensic tests confirmed the blood belonged to her. Nathan, now a fugitive, was soon arrested at a relative's home, silent and detached. Throughout the months leading to his trial, Nathan refused to speak, his quiet demeanor concealing a storm beneath. The defense mounted a strategy centered on insanity, claiming Nathan was not fully aware of his actions due to severe depression, head injuries from football, and substance abuse. They painted a portrait of a troubled young man undone by mental illness rather than malice. The prosecution countered with a narrative of calculated revenge. They depicted Nathan as a man consumed by jealousy and rage, who meticulously planned and executed a fatal attack on the girl who had left him behind. Calls to Lauren on the day of her death, the lure to his home, the attempt to hide the crime, all pointed to a deliberate and cold-blooded act. Witnesses described Nathan's volatile temper, especially when drinking. An incident 2 years earlier, when he threatened a young man who showed interest in Lauren, illustrated the dangerous edge beneath his charm. Yet, there had been no previous legal troubles, no formal reports of abuse, complicating the portrayal of premeditation. The trial was a tense battleground of expert testimonies. Forensic doctors clashed over Nathan's mental state, debating whether his actions were the product of a dissociative psychosis or a clear understanding of right and wrong. Graphic but carefully presented details from the autopsy underscored the brutality of the crime, while the defense sought to evoke compassion for a lost, ill young man. Lauren's mother sat in silent grief, the weight of loss palpable in the courtroom air. Malcolm showed strength and grace, even offering a gesture of understanding to Nathan's parents. Two families forever altered, both shattered by the irreversible. After 3 weeks, the jury found Nathan guilty on all charges. He was sentenced to life in prison without parole, a verdict that brought a bittersweet closure to a case steeped in sorrow. In the years since, Lauren's parents transformed their grief into action, founding the Lauren Ashley Memorial Foundation. Their mission is to educate young people on healthy relationships and the dangers lurking in possessiveness and unchecked jealousy. They champion the arts and community engagement, hoping to keep Lauren's light alive through the lives they touch. Yet, even as justice was served, new challenges arose. Legal changes in Massachusetts threatened to alter Nathan's sentence, reigniting fears in the Ashley family. Their resolve remains firm. Lauren's life was precious, and her story is solemn warning. This tragic tale is not just about loss. It is a stark reminder of the fragile balance between love and obsession, the consequences of untreated mental illness, and the power we all have to intervene before darkness claims another bright soul.